For the past 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, Nigeria has been having challenges that are beckoning and waiting for answers and solutions. That is why we are bringing to you our program, State of the Nation. And this is going to come up on our flagship program this morning on ITV. I am hereby inviting you to join me, Bola Bakare, your host, on State of the Nation, so that we can hasten the motions that brings national development. It's going to be a regular basis on Tuesdays. Make it a date with me. I'll be there waiting for you, and then we shall discuss Nigeria on an holistic level. Welcome back to your lofty program, State of the Nation, where we hasten the motions for national development. And national development is an all-inclusive factor. This morning we're going to deal and dwell on the element of mental health. Honestly, it is a cause for concern. So we are going to look in depth about the causes, the prevention, and the treatment. With us in the studio via phone is none other than Dr. Ejike Oji, who is the SSA to the Minister of the FCT on Health and Hospital Management. Dr. Ejike, good morning and welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning. And then my regards go to the viewers also.
That's good. That's good. What we're saying out here this morning is simple. Mental health is here with us. What are we going to do about it? There is need for us to take a very good look about what happens. But for starters, Dr. Ejike, Dr. Oji, please give us a brief opening about what mental health is as a definition.
Thank you, my brother. Let me just put it in a very simple and understanding way to the public. Mental health is an inclusion of things like emotional, psychological, and social well-being of human beings. And then all of these affect how we think, how we also act and feel. It also explains how we handle issues like stress and how we relate to each other.
That's good.
And also how we make healthy choices in our life.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ejike. Now let us now go in depth by looking at the causes of mental health. Honestly, we've lined up a few factors. We're talking in terms of depression, drug abuse, that is narcotics. We're talking in terms of child abuse that will run the child ragged. We're talking in terms of economic and livelihood, the absence of it. And we're talking in terms of even those that are educated, they do fall victim of it. Let's start from the element of depression. What is it about depression? We are looking at the causes first.
Yes, in mental health, you talk about causes and then also triggers. Let us start dealing from the very first element. One of the major triggers, or should I say, it's not a cause, it's a trigger, is that some people are born that way. There's a very strong element of hereditary when it comes to issues of mental health.
Oh.
So there's always a family line. And then what this means, some people who are exposed to some environmental trigger factors might not actually have mental health. But because they already have a predisposition to mental health, they will be caught up in it. Now, the other thing is, like you mentioned, some are environmental. And this means when people live in a very stressful environment, I think a very clear definition of this is during the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. You know, globally, mental health rose by 6% because of that forced, we'll say, imprisonment of people in their houses, and then also the fear of death.
Okay.
This also helped to increase the environmental pressures that led to people stressed out and they have some level of depression.
Okay.
Now, when we talk about depression, depression is when something happens to somebody and he has no mental ability to handle it. It makes the person to retract into herself or himself. In some cases, they stop eating. In some cases, they are just reclused from every other human being. Their eating habits change. Everything about their life changes. And then we also have issues of childhood trauma.
Okay.
Some children must have been traumatized when they were children,
Okay.
and then later on in their lives, those things will surface to cause mental health.
All right, Doctor.
Occasionally, unhealthy habits, which you have mentioned also, alcohol and drug abuse. In fact, in Nigeria, one of the major causes for mental health now we are seeing is drugs and alcohol. Some time ago, 2016, I started a mental health program in the Southeast. I had written a proposal and worked with the neuropsychiatric hospital in Enugu to get the federal Ministry of Health to have attention. So they approved the budget. So in the 5 states, I did mental health awareness and wanted to create clinics at the private level, that is at the primary health care level, to be able to start catching this thing.
Dr. Oji, I would like to ask.
1 in 4 of Nigerians have a mental health problem.
Dr. Oji, I would like to ask, apart from those other factors that you just talked about, are there other signs of mental health that people, especially in this part of the world, ignore? And they just see them as, sometimes they attribute them to spiritual attack?
Yes, this is when people behave abnormally, Nigerians will now say that the person has been possessed. And instead of getting a proper medical treatment, they either take them to church houses or manacle them and then get traditional medicine people. In some cases, they even burn them. And I think you heard recently what happened in, I think, Edo State. A young man who has 3 sons went to church, and then the preacher preached that there was somebody in the room who has 3 boys and they are all possessed. And then the man came back, took his 3 children and went to the bush and poisoned them with sniper. 2 of them died, 1 survived. That man obviously has a mental health problem, and which became more obvious when he was exposed to that toxic talk in the church. So in Nigeria, a lot of people who are moving around, especially when you see people going around naked, all those mad people you see, so to speak, you'll be surprised that if they were institutionalized and treated, they'll become normal people. And that's why outside this country, in the United States, 1 in 5 of people have mental health problems, but you don't see them because they are taken care of and they are regularly on their drugs and have something with their people. In Nigeria, we have only about 350.
Good, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Oji. On this note, let us move a little bit closer because we're talking in terms of the causes because we have to go into prevention and treatment.
Yeah.
Please, can you look at the aspect of economic and livelihood, the absence of it, as a cause of mental health? Look at that angle for us.
Does that even come into the picture when, in terms of mental health? Does it affect a human?
Oh yes. Let's look at parental responsibility. If a man is not able to provide for his family, obviously he will be worried. He will go into depression and he will start doing things that are unsavory. So poverty, inability to take care of a family, inability to put up a responsibility when it concerns a man can lead to depression and mental health issues. So there's no doubt that as we speak now, poverty and all the insecurity happening in the country lead people to have panic attacks. See people waking up in the start. There are nightmares, people having nightmares, especially people who have been exposed to maybe bombing or attacks by bandits. All those things insecurity, poverty, will not lead to lack of self-esteem, and then the result will be depression. There's no doubt that has caused a lot of things that support Nigerians, and there has led to a lot of Nigerian problems.
Thank you, Dr. Oji. Before we move ahead, because we've been able to tidy up about the causes, we need to move ahead into prevention and treatment. Dr. Oji, I hope you're still there with us.
I'm here.
That's good. Before we went on that short break, we've been able to tidy up elements of causes of mental health. Now we're going to look in terms of prevention and treatment. How do we go about prevention? Let me lay something across to you. In terms of narcotics and drug abuse, the NDLEA is doing a good job there.
Exactly.
But when we talk in terms of parenting, like you rightly said, the element of parenting, the element of economic and livelihood, the absence of that. Please factor these things together and give us your own idea about way forward in terms of prevention.
And as a writer, before you answer that question, the WHO actually said that there is need to check how young people, especially teenagers, get access to alcohol. That is also part of the problem. So do you see Nigeria keying into this, as in making sure that teenagers do not get access to alcohol?
Yes, thank you very much. This is a very important aspect of what I have been trying to do myself.
Okay.
It's a holistic approach. Like I said, in 2016, I did a proposal to a neuropsychiatric hospital in Enugu. And I said I wanted to do it in the streets of political zone, starting from the south. One of the key things we did a situational analysis to know what are the mental health problems that are coming to neuropsychiatric hospitals. A 5-year retrospective study was done, and it was found out that 45% of the cases coming were actually drug-induced and narcotics. And alcohol.
What percentage did you say?
About 45%.
That's high.
That's very high. And then eventually, when they were disaggregated, we always say that men are more exposed to alcohol and drug abuse. They also found out that almost 50% of the people involved were young girls. So in terms of sex, both sexes are almost the same. So now that brings us back to the question, how do we prevent it? Like I say, it's a holistic approach. There are what I will call social determinants. And those social determinants that lead to health problems is first of all to take care of the economic problems of the people. Bring in processes and strategies that will bring a lot of people into a good social welfare network.
Okay.
Whereby if they can't afford to feed, then there should be some level of assistance. And I'll give you a snippet of it. This government introduced a few measures, trader money, all those interventions under the National Social
Investment Program.
Expansion space. Those were stopgaps that were supposed to help people get back their life, especially after the pandemic.
Thank you. Because time is not on our side. You as our doctor out there and our people listening to you, we want to dwell on the element of treatment.
Exactly.
Okay.
Do we have...
in terms of treatment...
Let me add a caveat. Do we have doctors, mental health institutions, and the rest of the GAMUs? Encompass that in what you're going to tell us.
Okay. Let me say the availability of personnel for treatment is very low. Because of Nigeria, we have just about 358 psychiatrists.
No, don't say that. You said 158?
358.
358, okay.
In a country of 206 million. And we have just about 3 or 5 nurses to 100,000 people that are psychiatric nurses.
Oh.
So the personnel is so inadequate. And the other thing is that also we don't have the awareness. I think the important thing is the awareness. There's lack of awareness of mental illness. I can tell you more than 25% of Nigerians have one mental disorder. Or the other.
25%?
Oh, yes. about 25%. And then most people are not even aware that they have a mentally ill.
That's a problem. That's a problem.
Very big one.
When people are going around naked, doing the same, that's the only time people say, this person is mad. But before you see people who have gotten to that level, they have gone to different levels of mental health, depression, alcoholism,
Absolutely.
and then before they get to the things that they will go outside and start doing again. So the treatment, we ramp up training for psychiatric and psychiatric nurses, build more training in health institutions, and especially at the primary care level, which is what I wanted to do at the time. I wanted for the government to set up primary health care centers in terms of mental health, attached to the primary health care centers. And then we'll get the residents in the teaching hospitals doing psychiatry to spend 6 months in those areas to be able to start getting these people when they were still small, when the problem is still not so big. Because if you get the mental health problem early enough, you can nip it at the form, and it can save the country a lot of money and the individuals.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Ejike Oji. Unfortunately, time is not on our side. But within the little period of time we've spent with you, we quite appreciate taking us through the element of the courses, the prevention, and the treatment. One of which is improving on the PHCs, public health centers, which is the basic, what we call the grassroots of healthcare. On this note, we would like to say thank you for joining us on this program. And some other time, when we need you, we will gladly call you, and we hope that you will oblige us. Thank you very much.
Yes. It was all my pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. And to you, our viewers back at home, that has been a very good lesson in terms of mental health. The takeaway here is, it is not the man that is naked alone that is mad.
That has mental health.
There are a lot of people that are well dressed,
honestly,
that have mental issues. The doctor there just told us that about 25% of us have mental health issues. Honestly, we are depressed, we are not happy, there is the element of drug abuse, there is the element of insecurity, there is the element of not being in school, either educated or uneducated. But these are factors we all should look into. We should look at it and nip it in the bud before it becomes a naked situation.